We're both Christians. I do not see myself indulging in such an act. I can't even think it. He's very insistent and he says we're properly married, so it is not wrong, but I just can't do it. He says he's being tempted and that I should not blame him if he falls. What do I do? You can equally send your thoughts 0244340437.
Even though I hurt the I know God is working, so I smile. Even though I've been it for a while, I smile.
Hello, Uncle Ebo. Good morning.
Good morning, and how are you doing?
I am well. How are you doing too?
I'm doing very good, and thanks for having me.
Great. It's always an honor to have you. I hope the family is doing well.
Everyone is doing well, and they are getting more and more mischievous.
Okay, but you can contain that.
It's part of being homebound now.
Anyway, we have 3 issues on our hands this morning. Hopefully, by the grace of God, you are able to help us with some godly counsel and also be able to find a very fine balance between the issues, the issues we face in our home when we're torn in between being logical and being spiritual, and how we have to blend the two very well. So we have 3 issues, and they're all coming from, looks like very typical Christian homes. And you had the first one. I should go over it again.
Yeah, please go over it.
Okay. Says my husband is stuck abroad because of the restrictions on traveling. Somehow he is becoming frustrated, and he's now asking that we have phone sex. We're both Christians. I do not see myself indulging in such an act. I can't even think it. He's very insistent, and he says we're properly married, so there is nothing wrong with it. But I just can't do it. He says he is being tempted and that I should not blame him if he falls. What do I do?
Nothing.
Uncle, what do you mean nothing? He shouldn't do anything. The husband can fall. I mean, he can go out and probably, fall into...
No, the husband is just emotionally blackmailing her.
Okay.
Because if he doesn't really want to fall, the onus is on him. The responsibility is on him. Nobody can say that, because when I came home, you were not home, or when I came home, you were in your period, or when I came home, you were ill, and so because of that, I went next door and defiled somebody there. That doesn't work. If he really values his Christian life, it is up to him to sustain himself.
Yeah.
So the wife should not accept the responsibility for he living up to whether he's real about the fact that he knows God. At any rate, sex at its best is always what is comfortable between the two of them. So if one of you is not comfortable with anything in sex, at that point, we are not having sex. At that point, somebody is violating the other person, whether we are properly married or not. What happens must always be mutually satisfying to both of us. Otherwise, we are not having it. And if she's not comfortable and has told him that she is not comfortable, he should respect her sensitivities, and then, as a loving husband, if he says he's a Christian, God sustains us. God sustains us. So, what about his peers who are not married? They too, what should they say? So, it's an excuse. I mean, he's watched too many porno films, and he should grow up. He should wash his mind and clean his mind.
So how would you?
Anyway, where did he go and learn the sex about sex?
So
phone sex.
Exactly, that's another question. Fortunately, when some of these emails come, they come with contact. So I asked a few questions. I asked if it was, a practice in their home, if it was something they did. Then that was when she said she couldn't think it. She didn't know where it was coming from. For all the 6 years or so they have been married, that has never. I mean, nothing of the sort has ever come up. So why all of a sudden? And that also shocks her.
Yes. So he's not. He's just emotionally blackmailing the woman, and if she's not comfortable, I would say that you keep to your principles, because if he's, by this time, I'm sure he's already doing something. Don't mind him.
Okay, so how is she supposed to commute? What kind of conversation is she supposed to have with her husband? Because obviously she doesn't want to lose him, and if he goes out to do something, it's going to affect the marriage as well. So, I mean, looking at the big picture, how will she go about it?
No, he goes out to do something where?
Uncle, I missed that.
He goes out to do something where?
Okay, so he did say that his wife shouldn't blame him if he falls.
He's already fallen.
So what should the wife do? Because she is distressed.
He was just making a confession to the wife. What should the wife do? What should the wife do? I think the wife should begin to pray for him. Because she's a Christian woman. So she should pray and believe in the power of the Spirit of God to arrest people. And someday I can give you testimonies of people I know who were on the way to take a second wife with the family when the Spirit of God arrested him in the car, and he had to turn around. So she should pray. She should pray. And the young man, if he has any good friend, she knows of any good friend of his, or anybody in the family that he respects, he should get a person to call him to just find out how you doing, how you coping, and let's see what he says.
Great. So that is simply it. Okay, so let me push this a little further.
Okay.
What if she realizes that somehow, like you're saying, maybe the man is already doing something out there?
Yes.
And she realizes that.
Yes.
What are their chances?
Oh, plenty. It depends on who he is. He's not going to live in America all his life. He's coming home.
Yes.
He's waiting for the border to be open so he can come back home. So whatever it is there, he will leave it there. But the wife should not worry too much about what is happening there. Because she can't do anything about it anyway. You know, she can't do anything about it. So she should just focus on her life, live her life fully. When he returns, whatever the situation is, I'm sure the two of them would find the strength and the grace to solve to cope and solve it.
Great. I mean, very sound counsel, but then somebody would say that this is easier said. You know, forget about it, don't think about it, pray for him, and then let it be. When he comes back, whatever be the issue, you get to solve it. But
I agree that it is easier said than done, but that is also life. That is why not too many people are sensible, and not too many people are making good choices for their life, because it's not easy. But if you want your peace of mind and you want a life that becomes significant, you do the thing that is difficult, not the thing that is easy. Because if it was easy, everybody would be able to do it.
Yeah. If it was easy, everybody would be
Everybody would be doing it. It is not easy. Building a good marriage is not easy. That is why only a few marriages are functional and are successful. Because it's not easy. And people want easy. Meanwhile, life is not easy. And so she should just get ready. She's a Christian. She trusts in God. She should trust God. I think sometimes we underestimate the power of God to sustain us no matter where we are. And she should trust God if he's truly a child of God out there, or it is the Spirit of God who will sustain him, not the woman's presence or what the woman does.
Exactly.
So, all the women listening to us who have never denied their husband's sex and yet their husbands have cheated on them, what are we saying to them? Because there are women listening to us, girls listening to us, who have never denied the men in their lives what they wanted.
Yeah. And
yet find that the man has cheated on them. That one too, what happened?
Sure.
You know, so that's what I'm saying, that if he's going to fall, he should go ahead and fall if he wants to fall. But I believe that if the wife prays, the Spirit of God will be able to sustain him. I know a friend of mine who went to Kenya and decided, you know, this was my generation. When I talk about a friend of mine, it means that this is because I'm older than the mobile phone. So this was in the days before mobile phone. He goes to Nairobi and decides that I have been from for too long. Now I'm in Kenya, nobody knows me here. Let me try something. Yeah, why don't I? And says he goes out, gets a girl into his room, the girl strips, he strips, and he says one word. The Spirit of God drops one word in his mind, and he panics and drives the girl out. He said he could hardly wait for the girl to get dressed again.
Wow.
Go, leave.
Wow.
Just one word in his mind. So I at my age, I've seen the Spirit of God sustain his people. So don't worry, the Spirit of God will sustain him.
Great. The Spirit of God will sustain you. But let me quickly just ask before I go on to the next one. Why is the issue? So, for instance, this couple, they have never, it doesn't look like they have had issues with, sex and intimacy until now.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, this man travels. She tells me that he travels quite often, but 2 weeks he's back, he goes back in and all that. So he keeps moving in and out, but then they haven't stayed apart for like a month before, ever since they got married. So this one has kind of stretched. I am wondering, and I'm just wondering, what is it that makes it so difficult for some people to keep and sustain themselves a little bit when it comes to these things? And again, this man is supposed to be a Christian brother. What will make his mind wander so far? Not hoping and believing that, this will pass very soon and I will be able to go back home to join my wife. But all of a sudden, you veer off and you're thinking about other things that your wife is not comfortable with. And then you're even saying that, if anything happens, don't blame me. What could make a Christian brother's mind wander so far in such a short period? Is it that he really wasn't a true Christian?
Let's get a few things clear. That when it comes to sexual desire, there is no Christian, there is no non-Christian.
All right.
I have said that until we are all baptized by immersion naked, there's a part of us that is never baptized when we are baptized.
Okay.
Because there would always be something covering that, so it doesn't have direct touch with the water. So let's get that one. That when it comes to your hormones raging and things like that, there is no Christian. There's no Christian. The only advantage the Christian has is that he can cry on God to help him, which the non-Christian may not be able to do. So that is the only difference. But the desire, the yearning, that one, there is no Christian, there is no non-Christian. Now, the next thing is that we are told that the idle mind is the devil's workshop. He's finished what he's going to do in the U.S. He's only been locked up because of corona and the cousin virus. And so they are locked up there. He doesn't have much by way of productive, challenging work for him to do. So I can see that he may be spending half his time on social media, half his time going through the channels, because out there you get a lot of channels, going through the channels either in hotel or wherever it is he is, and things like that. And then at that point, because porno has become so easily available, and don't tell me Christians don't watch porno. If we did a research right now on the phones and laptops of Christian young men, I am sure we will discover this morning, right now, that over 70% of them have one porno site they have visited in the last week or so. So let's not kid ourselves. This is a Christian. But having said all that, there are things that we should all learn. And I think that when somebody is going through some of these things, then it becomes a learning point for the rest of us. The first thing is this, and I have said this, I teach this in my group, wherever I go, that marriage is no solution to sex. If you don't learn to control your sexual desires, marriage would only exacerbate it. It will make it worse. It will not take it away. So people go around and think that if I was married, it will not be this. I say you are lying. If you're married, it will be worse. Because so what does he do when his wife has just delivered? Does sex continue? Is he telling me?
Maybe they are together. Maybe they are together, and you would find other things to do with yourselves, not necessarily, yeah.
Oh, don't mind him.
Okay, but the import of this is what I learned from the question I asked you, and that's what I think would like people to know, is the fact that you will have to be very careful what you feed your mind. Because once you're ideal, and that's what you mentioned rightly, you may have finished doing business and you're ideal. So if you don't take care, you start feeding your mind a lot of things that could affect a lot more things. So
if you don't take care. If you don't take care, he's already feeding his mind with
exactly. Yeah.
Because actually, when he was living in Ghana, he didn't know what
was out there.
Sex was. But now he does. How did he learn it? Who taught him?
Awesome. So we need to be careful what we feed our minds, We need
to be careful. And then if you're a Christian, live by it. Be a Christian. And know that it is God you are dealing with, not your spouse.
Sure.
It is God you are dealing with. God's eyes are upon you. So protect yourself. The onus is on you, not on your wife. To say, keep me on the straight and narrow. No. If you know God, you then have to put to death everything that belongs to the earthly nature. You have to walk after the spirit and not after the flesh. Those are scriptures that apply to you whether you are married or not. What happened to his Bible? What happened to those verses in his Bible? You see, the painful thing is that he's going to make the woman feel responsible for his...
Exactly.
Yes, and that is what annoys me. That irritates me. That irritates me. You decided to fall. Don't let the woman feel guilty for your doing that. At any rate, you will not answer to your wife, or you will answer to the living God, whose eyes are upon you.
Great. Thank you very much. Before we end the session, the whole conversation, we'll have time to recap some of the things Uncle Ebu said with regards to, the various issues we'll be coming up with. We'll move on to the second issue, Uncle. Says, my wife practically worships the pastors and the elders in the church, but treats me recklessly. She's always referring to the pastor and the elders as daddy, and practically goes on her knees to even talk to them. However, she talks to me like her houseboy. She says the pastors are her spiritual fathers, but she and I are one and on the same level. But she and I are one and on the same level, so I should stop demanding respect from her. Even more painfully for me is the fact that she has refused to do any work to support the family, saying she wants to be fully dedicated to serving in the house of God. I do not want the church to think I am not in control of my home, so I have never mentioned this outside of my home. But in actual fact, I am dying inside. This is from a man. Uncle, you got that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great.
I did. Unfortunately, you just read the pain of a lot of married men. He is not alone. It's a very common issue in homes. And sometimes the men of God sometimes go out of their way to demand that level of reverence from their members, especially the female members. So it is not just the wife worshiping them. Sometimes they demand to be worshipped indirectly, and everybody calls them daddy, and everybody curtsies when they are talking with them. It is the case. So he should. I want him to begin from the point that this is not his wife alone. Okay. This is the reality in Ghana, and we are beginning to realize. If you follow the exposés that the Honorable Kennedy Japan is carrying out with pastors, you realize that we now have a generation of pastors who have a lot of questions to answer. Sure. Do you understand? And if your wife or even your daughter or even you yourself if you came under the control of any of them, you are in a big mess. You are in a big mess. So let's get that one clear. So my brother, this is not about you. This is not just you. It is an issue a lot of men are having to deal with. Now the question is, why are men having to deal with this question? It is because a lot of husbands do not realize that their first role is to be the priest of their wives. And when you fail to play that role, your wife will go and look for a priest somewhere. A husband must provide provide a certain spiritual comfort and assurance for his wife. So I will need to ask him, when was the last time your wife saw you pray? When was the last time your wife saw you pray? So that if she's in a crisis or she has a bad dream, you are the first person she'll call and say, oh, pray with me. This is what the dream I have. It's possible, because what happens in most homes is that it is a woman who is always pushing, let us pray, let us pray, let us pray. And the husband says, oh, I'll pray later. You pray, you pray, you pray. When you do that, you are creating a certain vacuum. And her spiritual needs won't go away. So she would look for somebody else. This time it is a pastor, but sometimes even a colleague in the office who is always coming to her with Bible passages and assurances. And that is why a lot of women are having emotional affairs because the man seems not to be interested. So I would just say that he should up his spiritual life, let it become manifest in the house so that his wife can know that my husband has depth as a Christian, can be called a man of God in his own right, if nowhere else, in his home, in his workplace. Everybody can testify. This is a man who knows God, who sees God, who is close to God, who is hungry for God. Then the wife would begin to look up to him and respect him. The other thing is that respect is earned. It is not demanded. So my brother, up your game a little. Check what kind of husband have you been. Don't demand it. Just rise up to it. As for she not wanting to work and things like that, I tell all men that in our society, the responsibility for providing for the house is yours. If your wife is able to support, that's a bonus. But you continue to pray that God will help you to continue to come home with the resources that will keep the home going. If she's able to, if she's the industrial one, a resourceful, and she contributes, that is a bonus. But if she doesn't, you, the man, continue to pray to God that He will continue to sustain you, continue to open doors for you, work hard to ensure that you get the promotion you want, you live the dreams you need, and so you would be the one who is providing for the home. But he is not alone in this. The primary thing is that he should watch his own spiritual life. I'm sure the wife is not finding any spiritual life there, and so there's no spiritual comfort there for the family. He should rise up to that challenge.
So does that justify the wife's actions?
And which action is it?
I mean, about, showing respect to the pastors and everything, and you telling your husband that...
I'm sure if the man himself is also a member of the church, I'm sure he also shows respect in his own way for the pastor. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Yes. There's nothing wrong in showing respect to the pastor. But what I'm saying is that if the man rises up to be the priest of his home, of his wife, and the wife can testify, my husband knows how to pray. God listens to my husband when he prays. I told my husband this and he prayed, and this is the answer. This is what happened. Then the role of the pastor will become less and less and less.
Yeah.
So you should just try that. Just try that strategy and see. Then in addition to that, as a husband, he should be fully husband. He should live up to the name, the title. If he's providing, let him provide well. Emotionally, let him be there. Sexually, let him up his game. If he's the kind of person who every morning, make the wife wake up singing. Trust me, the wife will not be worrying about the pastor.
Wife will not be worried about the pastor.
That is, if let's say, if sex is good with him, trust me, she'll wake up and forget about pastor for some
time. But Uncle, but you know there are some people who are just fanatics. No matter what you do, this one would like to be in the church. There is a place to be swept. She'll be there. There has to be a funeral 3 times in a week. She will be there. Everything. And sometimes to the extent that they are really, really, really neglecting their homes and they don't see anything wrong with it.
They were not born fanatic. They are there because of some need that they are hoping to be met. Unfortunately, of course, the church will disappoint them as well. But it's wonderful if they can find that in the home, that I can tell my husband what is going on. I can tell my husband that I think my auntie is a witch, and he will pray with me and counsel me and tell me that no witch can touch us. You understand me? Instead of saying that, okay, let's go and pour hot water on her, or that kind of thing. So there's always this, whenever you see a fanatic, there is something that is driving them, chasing them, and they have nowhere to go. So they hold on fanatically to whoever offers succor for them. Let the man rise up and be that. And I think a lot of men are failing their wives that way. Men underestimate the spiritual hunger and thirst of women. Women are close to God. Their need for spiritual strength and comfort is much bigger than that of a man. Men only remember God when we are in trouble. When we've lost our job, when we are in or going to be fired, or when we are ill, very ill, and things like that. Those are the times when a lot of men begin to turn to God, because in our society and in our generation, we have succeeded in teaching men that prayer and leaning on God is a sign of weakness.
Oh.
And so no man wants to be seen as weak. And so many of us pretend that we don't have need of God, but we do. Our need for God is as acute as that of our wives, but our wives are able to express it better and easily without feeling any sense that, I am not being a woman enough. No, I want to go to church. The man wakes up in the morning, he doesn't understand a few things, but will you go to church? Why should I go to church? Why should I go to church? And so we have socialized men to associate being not going to church with strength, not praying and going for prayer meetings with strength, not acknowledging your need for God with being manly, with being a man. So the more of a man you are, the more you say things like, me, I don't even believe in this thing. We think it is manly, but it's not. I have always said that the man who says, I don't believe in God, I envy him for his simple life. I wish my life was that simple. Because it is when your life is too small that you can't fit God into it. Because your life is too small. But if your life is big, you cannot help but run to God. Abraham Lincoln, in one of his writings, was asked whether he believed in God. He said, I would have gone out of my mind if I didn't believe in God. And his age would tell you that at dawn, you would find him pacing the halls of the White House, praying and seeking for guidance. That is a man. But many men have been socialized. Oh, no, why are you praying about this? This one, use your brains. Yes, use your brains. And also, I teach my people that pray as if everything depends on prayer, and work as if everything depends on work. But don't neglect to pray.
Great. Thank you very much, Uncle Ebo. Wow. So we will move on to the third before I activate the phone lines and also, read some of the messages we have. I'd like us to deal with the issues comprehensively. So thank you. We've had I've made notes for the first two. We'll go on to the third issue and then we will activate the phone lines. So here is the third one. That one is pretty long. Says, my husband has cheated on me for more than 7 years with several women. We met in church, dated for 2 years, and got married some 7 years ago. In fact, he cheated on me twice before we even got married, but we were both counseled and he apologized. We have 2 children. I am tired of living this painful and ridiculous life with him. I have battled so many infections as a result of his philandering. In fact, I do not love him anymore. The church says I should keep enduring and that it will be well. As I speak with you, he does not sleep at home on weekends, and he has not hidden the fact that he is spending the weekend with another woman from me. He has told me he might at a point marry another woman in addition to me, so I should psych myself up for it. I have been asked to pray, but this is torturous. I can't endure it anymore. I just want to leave. I am 38 years. I do not want to die out of pain and hurt and leave my children. I just want to leave. And the church doesn't want me to. That's the third issue.
Unfortunately, this is also a very common case for women. I've dealt with cases, and see, people don't recognize, don't know this, and don't have regard for this. But if you're a decent woman, there is nothing more demeaning than to go to hospital with an illness that only prostitutes can. Do you understand me?
I do.
If you're a decent woman, there's nothing more humiliating than to go to the hospital with an infection, which is only caused by people who are very sexually active and are sleeping with all manner of men. Simply because the one man you sleep with is sleeping with 1,000 girls. So he's brought it home to you. There's nothing more demeaning than that. And quite often, when the doctors ask that go and bring your husband, he will refuse to go.
Yeah.
No, he won't go. He will refuse to go. So that is a difficult thing. And sometimes I find it difficult that the churches, the only solution for the churches is that, oh, you stay in there, you stay in there, you stay in there, you stay in there. She'll stay in there and die. She'll stay in there and die. And I think we should have to rethink this. But let me take this from the beginning. And again, like I said in the first case, when somebody's case comes up, we all learn from it. So let's make this a learning thing.
That's it.
If you are dating somebody and the person is cheating on you, he won't get better. He won't stop. And women should learn that. Because when you started reading it, before you got to the point where he said he cheated on me before we married.
Yeah.
As soon as you started reading and said that he had cheated on me with several women for 7 years, I said, you knew about that 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You knew he had that propensity before you married him.
Exactly.
You knew it. Yeah, then maybe you rationalized it, you justified it. You know, and that is why, let's link this one with the first case that we dealt with. The man who is saying that if you don't have phone sex with me, I'll go and cheat.
Mm-hmm.
This one too. This woman is not denying himself. But look at what he's doing.
Yeah. So
let's get this in straight. That and to all the young ladies out there dating, if the man at the point when you are dating and courting is already cheating on you, he won't get better. He will only get worse. Well, are you prepared to live with that? And women should not settle for less. You shouldn't take that. So let's begin that, so that this woman has already made her mistake. She's already paying the price for it. But there are many listening to us this morning who haven't gotten there yet. And I'm concerned about them. If he's cheating on you, if he has a roving eye, if he's flirting with other girls, he won't get better after marriage. After marriage, he would even feel there will be more impunity in what he's doing, because he thinks that now I've got you. I've got you. You are at home. I've saddled you with children. Stay home. And quite often, the womanizers, they love to give their wives children because they know it will keep you
at home.
You can't go anywhere.
I'm busy.
It will keep you busy. Plus, where are you going? You can't get another man. You have 3 children. Where are you going? So you have to.
What a strategy!
Yes, a lot of A lot of players, womanizers that I know, they are not even satisfied with one child. No, you must have about 2 or 3. And they will insist on it, 2 or 3. It's not because they love you. It's not because they love the children. They want something to tie you down. Because 3, if you have 1 child and you are moving out of a marriage, it is easier. You can even go and pet with a friend if you can't rent a place of your own. But if you have 3 children, are you going to pet with that friend of yours who has only 1 room? Where would your 3 children be? So that cripples you and makes you stay in there. So he's not going to get better. He's not going to change. He's not going to change. So it's obvious that the church knows about it. I'm sure the church has spoken to him before they told him.
Even before they got married.
Even before they got married.
Yeah.
And he apologized. I'm sure he may even have cried. And I've always told my adopted daughters, beware of a man who cries when he's apologizing to you. Okay. No, beware of that. Because
how so?
You see, because the crooks among us know women can't stand a man's tears. So you've hurt her. She's, I'm going to lose this girl. I have to do something, or I'll lose this girl. The two is cry. Go on your knees and cry. She will melt, and she'll go and tell all her friends, "Oh, I was."
He was crying.
No, he was crying. He was crying. You were not there. You should have seen. He was crying. No, it means nothing. He knows.
And he's so sorry.
It's manipulation.
Oh my God.
And women should be wise. Sometimes, just as, don't forget that women also use that on us. Women also know that you cry on your man. The topic will be over. He can't push the issue any further.
Oh my God.
Yes, we know. We also, just as women use it, we also use it.
This man and woman issues cry.
But this woman, my heart goes to her. Unfortunately, the signs were there. She should never have found herself married to this man. And I've said this even on Joy FM on my Food for Thought, that there are men who should not be married, who nobody should marry.
Hey.
Yes, there are men who nobody should marry. Wow. They are not prepared to make a commitment to one person. They are not prepared to work on themselves. Many of them have been so spoiled by their mothers, they think they are the gift of God to women. They go around town making themselves weapons of mass destruction for women, and they feel good about it. They are surrounded by friends who have no virtues and have no values. Men like that, nobody should marry. Leave him to his philandering ways, because he's not going to change. He's a man who will never. He's a boy who will never become a man, no matter how many years he lives.
Wow.
He's a boy. He's still having adventures, and he thinks it's fun.
Wow.
Look at his friends. Listen to the conversation with his friends.
I know,
it's all juvenile. Even though he may be in his 40s, it is all juvenile. He will never grow old. He will never grow. He will never mature. People like that, nobody should marry. And yet, unfortunately, those are the people that the women also love.
They say women love bad boys.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that.
No, I didn't say that.
But you've heard that. I mean, sure, Clemo.
Something I would like to say, but these days of social media, a man like me should be careful what he says. Now, when a woman says it, then you echo it and say, yes.
That's true.
No, except that, no. And I think for the sake of all good men out there, let me say this. Let me tell all the men there. Women don't love bad boys. Indeed, they are scared of bad boys. Women want boys who are interesting, who are fun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is the bad ones who are
fun. So you've gone round go see the same place.
if the good boys out there would understand that men want men to be fun, they want fun, then let all good men, because we can also be fun.
They say the good boys are boring.
Because nobody has told them that they need to be fun.
They want to have conversations about politics and all. They don't want to talk about romance and all the things that tickles a woman.
Politics, then you are fortunate. You come to you and say, "What did you have for your quiet time? What did you think of Pastor sermon?" Oh, my brother. Now, I worry about them because now that churches are closed, when they're going to visit the girls, what do they ask? Because they can't ask you, what did you think of Pastor's sermon last week? So what do they say now? No, women want fun. They want a boy who is interested. They want a boy who projects confidence. And if a player is not confident, he can't be a player. You've got to be confident. So they know what the women want and they project it. They may not be it, but they project it. And good boys have to learn a few things. Good boys have to learn, be confident. Be a little bit assertive. When there's a situation, take charge. Let the woman know, I've got this covered. Lean on me. You can lean on me. When she's panicking, don't be the first one to also panic. Be the man and things like that. Increase your outlook, your appearance. Groom yourself well. Smell nice. Every player smells nice. Every player. And then some good boys, you still will get a sweat of 3 days ago.
Oh, they shouldn't do that.
But they do.
They should learn from the bad boys.
They should learn a few things about life, not from the bad boys, because the bad boys learned it. They were not born with it. They learn it. They learn it and they learn well. So we too should learn.
They learn well just so they can impress and break hearts.
Yes, so that they can then use it. Then it becomes, they weaponize common sense. They weaponize common sense because this is common sense. So that is it. To the lady. If you've gotten, I think you should bring your family in. Let your family know that this is it. I can't go on anymore because if I continue enduring, this will be the end result. I may lose my life. I may leave my children motherless. And with a man like that, if the mother goes, he will not be the father that he needs to be for the children. He's too busy with other women out there. So she should try and see if she can get her family to support her in her decision to walk away. And if they do, I think she should. She should at least ask for separation. And ask the boy to work on himself and get his act together. And if that doesn't work, then she can go the full hog and then
let it be.
Get herself people.
All right. Great. So I have a question here that says, hello, Uncle Ibu, please address this for me. Sex has been a big issue in my home. We have no kids. Been married for 7 years, but sex is an issue. My wife is unparticipatory. She's always sleeping. I think we dealt with this issue, the last time. I believe sex is also communication, which both have to take part. But my wife never takes part, but only sleeps. The worst is she never even initiates. I sometimes intentionally go for weeks without initiating sex, but she's not bothered. Okay, this is like a very big conversation on sex and all that. Maybe we will find some other time, because Uncle, I know if you start dealing with this, we won't be able to deal with other issues. Yeah. So we will note this question down, because 3 weeks ago we had a lot of these questions and we dealt with them. So we'll note it and then make time with you to have these conversations, and we will know the questions. Hello, I respectfully disagree with Uncle Ibu White on his submission on the wife being disrespectful to the husband, seeing the pastor as more important. A wife who shows respect to a pastor and disrespects the husband is not the best and not Christian. This is from William.
William, I never said that. I never said that the wife was right in disrespecting the husband. So, William, go and listen to the tape again. I never said that. I just tried to explain why she's doing that. And I think to solve any problem, you have to gain an understanding of it before you even try to tackle it. And I'm saying that when you leave a spiritual vacuum in your house, in your home, your wife will go and look for it outside. That is what I said.
Great. Okay, so there is a follow-up question from somebody else. His name is Chris. He says, what if the husband does all Uncle Lebo is saying, and the husband is playing his part no matter what he does? It doesn't change. My wife, for instance, goes to church at 9 a.m. and returns at 8 p.m. One meeting to the other. And this is Sunday after Sunday.
Yeah. Pastors are doing a great disservice to society. And any pastor who detains people in the church
9 a.m. to 8
p.m. Beyond a certain time, you are destroying homes. And I think maybe one of our programs, of your programs, you should make that, let's talk about pastors, the effect of pastors of church in homes, because it's not healthy.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate. I would say that talk with your wife. If it doesn't work, leave the church and look for another church.
Great.
Fortunately, some churches, 2 hours, you are back home.
So that's another big topic we will make time to discuss, the effect of pastors and the church, on homes. How do you go to church from 9 a.m. and come back at 8 p.m.?
No, it's not on. It is not on.
Why?
It is not on. It is not on.
That is serious, though.
Yeah, it is. It is. I said that it's happening. The other one will be the one who goes to both services, comes home and goes back in the evening as well. I mean, what do you want? The right-hand side of God has already been taken off.
Yeah, awesome. There's this other one that says, I'm sure the second issue is an issue in my home too. We're still talking about the issues with the pastors and the church. I'm sure you can do us a favor to get a second opinion on this, okay? The person says that all men are not supposed to be priests to their wives before they get some respect. Yes, husbands may provide spiritual counsel, but not necessarily priests. I don't think Uncle Ebu said you should be an osofo to your wife. That's not what he said. So if you agree that you have to provide some spiritual counsel and comfort, then I think that's what Uncle Ebu said. Yeah. Some women and most Christian women make husbands suffer because they use the not being able to divorce as a manipulative tool. This will only happen in a Christian home. Uncle's comments exonerate women from little responsibilities. They say, Papa, Daddy, Sir, then the marriage will break.
Well, the problem is that it isn't only the women who are calling pastors Papa. The men are also doing that if they are part of the church. So let's get that one straight. The men also reverence them. I go to preach in churches, and as soon as you get there, somebody is running to come and take your Bible. And I said, this is my Bible. It's not heavy. Why are you taking it? And that is a man. That is not a woman. And then they talk with you, and you can feel the respect the guy is showing you. That is not the respect he shows everybody.
Yeah.
That is not his normal default nature. But in church, he's a different personality. So a lot of people, a lot of pastors have used the Bible to frighten people. I am the anointed of God. They forget that we are all anointed of God now. Because in Joel, God says, in the last days, I'll pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
Yeah.
And so, me too, the anointing, I get some. You too, you get some. So, why are you taking your anointing and letting somebody make you believe that his anointing is bigger than yours? It came from the same source. So, maybe we've all allowed it to happen, and it's about time we stop it. But I haven't excused this woman. I am solving a problem. And I'm saying that let the man rise up to his role as the head of the house in every way.
Right.
And I'm sure he would reduce the room for the pastors to fill gradually over a period of time. That's what I said.
Great.
I'll be honest with you.
Hopefully we should be able to pick 1 or 2 phone calls. We will note this question also. Looks like this one we will need, to get a lawyer into the studio. But I'll read it out. It says, please help me to overcome this emotional trauma. I am currently going through Okay, where's my mouse? Message just skipped a little bit. Okay, great. I am currently going through. Please help me deal with this emotional trauma I am currently going through after a painful divorce. Does a cheating wife who has confessed to the act of infidelity and having a child out of wedlock, is she entitled to alimony after the divorce? I do not know. So we will actually get an expert advice on that. When noting this, we will deal with it comprehensively. Once it's come up, we do believe that it's an issue we need to deal with. But whilst your phone calls come through, education is secured, convenient, and easily accessible on Joy Learning. Here's how you can access the Joy Learning channel on your multi-TV digibox. Rescan your TV set or seek assistance from an installer nearby. Find Joy Learning and access classroom lessons for SHS and JHS students. For more lessons, go online and download the Wolo app or visit wolofreak.com for all core subjects and electives in science, business, and general arts. Register and subscribe to any subject of your choice. For more information, call 0264790 or 0302211688. Joy Learning is brought to you by KNET, SES, and Wolo. Joy Learning, keep learning. And yay, Dano Milk is back. Milk just got exciting with Dano Milk. Dano Milk has 3 extra amazing powdered milk flavors to its plain milk, and they come in chocolate, strawberry, and coffee. Beyond being creamy and tasty with pleasant and natural aroma, they are healthy and nutritious with help to grow. So I take that again. Beyond being creamy and tasty with pleasant and natural aroma, they are healthy and nutritious. That help you to grow strong mentally and physically. Get your favorite flavor at 1 CD only for the 40-gram sachet and serve with cold, warm, or hot water. Dano Milk, strength comes from within. Hello, Kofi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kofi. How are you?
It's not Kofi. This is Stephen Salasi.
Oh, hi, Stephen.
Calling from Gulf City, Tema.
Okay, great, Stephen. You're on air.
I really liked today's program. Even though I've been listening to this Home Affair program, but for today, Uncle Bo has made me understand one or two things that I've been making mistake in the relationship. Actually, I want him to clear me from one thing about the woman who was complaining that the husband threatened to cheat on her. Actually, as soon as the guy made up his mind and came out to tell the wife this and that, I don't think he's joking. It's likely he can do it. So I think Uncle Ebu we shouldn't consider the fact that maybe the guy is just joking and he cannot do it. Okay,
let me just ask you. So what advice would you give to the man? Let's say that he is stuck somewhere in the UK, the wife is here, and he wants us to have phone sex. The woman says, I am unable to, I can't do it, I am not comfortable with it. And then he concludes by saying that, okay, no problem if you're not comfortable, but don't blame me if I fall. What would you have the woman do? If this woman was your sister, what advice would you give her? My time is up in just about 30 seconds.
Okay, for me, I think it's a matter of praise, but she should cooperate. You understand?
She should do it.
She should cooperate with the man. Whatever the man has, she should cooperate.
No, we know the issue. She should do it, right? That's what you would say. Okay, all right.
His demand, so they should do it. She should allow them to do it. If she's not comfortable at all, she should try. Even if she's
not comfortable.
Yeah.
Even if that is not what she wants to do, against her will and everything, she should do it.
Just let him understand that this. And at the end of the day,
why can't the man understand that she is not comfortable with stripping herself on the internet? Why can't the man understand that? I am asking you. So think about it.
I hear you. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But there is no sunshine.
So our time, unfortunately, is up, and we have to be wrapping up. Too bad we lost Uncle Ibo on the line. Wish we could get him to wrap up quickly in just about a minute.
Where are my blue skies? Where is the love?
But have you seen the new addition to Cerelac range of baby cereals? It's the new Cerelac 350-gram weight pouch or sachet. The same nutritious Cerelac you know, with a great taste that babies just love. Cerelac is also packed with iron, proteins, vitamins that babies need for growth and development, and it really tastes amazing. You can try it for yourself. And you know, having your baby try out different tastes and flavors isn't just about giving them a change of taste. This actually helps to develop their palates and prepare them better for accepting variety of adult foods later on. So go ahead and try the different flavors: maize, rice, millet, 3 fruit species, and biscuits. Grab your sachet at any retail outlet near you.
Smile, smile.
Now every day ain't gonna be perfect, but it still remains a day gonna have purpose. Come on!
Today's a new day.
Okay, so in just a minute, we'll just get you to wrap up for us. Our time is up.
All right.
Yes, your final words before we go.
Well, I think that people should always be careful of the choice they make. And I'm referring to one of the cases we dealt with, that when somebody reveals himself to you, then cautious, don't explain it away. Don't make excuses. And just realize that people don't get better after marriage.
Great.
They don't. So you have to ask yourself, if this does not change, if this behavior does not change, would I still be happy to live with it?
Great.
And if you answer yes, then when it doesn't change after marriage,
you have no
keep quiet
issues.
and suffer.
Great. Thank you very much, Uncle Ibo.
All right. So
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful day.
You too. We appreciate you.
Okay.
Home Affairs this morning. Next week we have another interesting conversation coming for you. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Fairboy, and to the technical team. God bless you. Enjoy the weekend. My name is Adam Knight Tay. Bye.